What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka All Fires. Now, it feels like these major editorials just wait until a new Marvel movie drops and then run a hit piece. It's been happening so often in the last couple of years. But the thing is that today's article, coming from the Wall Street Journal of all places, and talking about Kevin Feige referring to Marvel Studios' long in the tooth Phase 4 and Phase 5 as homework, really highlights the major problem with Marvel, and this actually is not a hit piece. It's a harbinger. It talks about what is changing, what's going back to normal at Marvel, and we're starting to see it right now with Thunderbolts. We are going to break down this latest Wall Street Journal article that, while starting what I would say is super negative, ends in a great light and really gives me a lot of hope for what's to come. With all of the changes that Kevin Feige is now making to Marvel and what things are going to look like going forward, especially as we're on the horizon of the Mutant Saga. We're breaking it all down, but first, if you could grab the subscribe button. Guys, thanks again. If you subscribed in the last couple of months, you are helping grow the channel again at a breakneck pace. And if you haven't already, I just kindly invite you to do so. It's the number one thing you can do to support us as content creators. Plus, it enters you for the giveaways. If you want, stick around to the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so again, this just broke in the Wall Street Journal, and it starts by saying, quote, "The head of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, told colleagues recently that watching all the comic book giants' new TV shows and films had started to feel more like homework than entertainment." And while it's an absolute shock to hear this from the guy who's the president of the whole thing, this is basically mirroring a trope we have already seen in social media and the zeitgeist, people saying you gotta do your homework in order to see a Marvel show, and we had even heard that parakeeted by a couple of the creatives leading up to Marvel shows in the last couple of years, referring to, you don't gotta do your homework to watch this one. They continue by writing this quote, "The problem," Kevin Feige acknowledged, "is that in an effort to satisfy parent company Disney's hunger for content on its new streaming service, the studio behind the Avengers churned out too many movies and shows with interconnected stories. The deluge of material from Marvel Studios actually alienated the fan base. It stretched Kevin Feige and his team's resources thin, diluting the quality of their output. Marvel's box office sales, streaming popularity, and formerly untouchable position in pop culture hence suffered." We already know all that. Here's the cool stuff, quote, "Now Feige is leading an internal overhaul aimed at getting the studio back on track. Marvel is making fewer TV shows with standalone stories that don't require prior knowledge of the MCU. Feige is focused on fixing the studio's movie slate following recent flops." Now, really early on, I want to point this out. There's a super important two-sentence paragraph in this text that reads, quote, "Kevin Feige declined requests for an interview. This article is based on interviews with more than a dozen people who have worked at Marvel or have done business with the studio." Now, to sum up this whole article in short, the thesis here is that as Kevin Feige's direct involvement in the productions declined because they went so wide, the quality declined with it. There was a point at which Kevin Feige's heavy involvement with each one of these projects sort of ensured its quality along the way, and as Marvel Studios got to a point where it was just too many shows and films per year, 3 movies, 4 TV shows, it wasn't possible for him with his current bandwidth or just any normal human bandwidth to actually QC each one of these the way he was doing during the Infinity Saga. So what this article is basically saying is they're returning to form, rolling back the number of projects so that they can focus on quality, and it sounds like Kevin Feige is going to be more directly involved with each one of these projects instead of the way it was for early parts of Phase 4 and Phase 5. Now, we are very obviously entering a new phase, a post-Bob Chapek phase. Again, the guy that was in between both runs of Bob Iger, and the guy who's largely credited with forcing Marvel to put out this much content in order to what he thought was sort of break the streaming service, and obviously that just didn't work. And the first of this new regime is the Thunderbolts, and so far, so good. Now, obviously, they have a huge hurdle ahead with the Avengers movies, but why this is such good news is because Marvel doesn't stop with Avengers Secret Wars, and in fact, if anything, that will be maybe our most soft, quote-unquote, reboot point we've ever had in Marvel Studios when they remake the multiverse when all is said and done. And with the Mutant Saga on the horizon, with all of the new X-Men introductions we're about to get to, him coming back to the fold and trying to return Marvel Studios to its form, I would say is pretty much perfect timing. Before we had a less than Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, before we had an Avengers drop at all, and before they were about to get to this soft reboot point and with the new saga. Look, I think it's fair to say that Marvel Studios did get lucky with a couple of decisions that were made during the Infinity Saga. I've said it once and I'll say it a million times more. Putting James Gunn in charge of Guardians of the Galaxy was one of the best decisions they could have made because it completely changed the trajectory, and especially right after Winter Soldier, going from win to win, strength to strength, and with an underdog team, sort of gave them this feeling that as they waded into Phase 4 and Phase 5, TV shows with secondary publishing characters were going to do great, and it's just not the case. We love the Daredevils, the Spider-Mans, the Wolverines, the Hulks of the world, and rolling back the number of projects they're going to do now in order to bring that quality back, I think is really their only way forward. And really, you saw this reaction last year in 2024 when the only movie they released was Deadpool and Wolverine. They wanted to give as much of a breather between what was going on then and what we're getting now as possible, and Deadpool and Wolverine was pretty much our intermission point. Now look, I just saw a headline last night, or maybe it was a YouTube title, something along the lines of Thunderbolts is a return to Marvel form, is it too late? And I think that that is a valid question, but really what you're asking is it too late for Marvel the brand? And no, it's not. These superheroes, they've withstood the test of time, decades and generational interest in the characters, and quite honestly, they are the modern American myth, superheroes that is, so equally DC and Marvel. So while the MCU may have had a down point where they went through a era of putting out less than quality, the fact that we're all still so interested means that it's never too late. And honestly, Marvel Studios trying to do what we've all been asking them to do for the last 3 or 4 years, well, what I'm basically saying is you can't ask for more than that, and I wish them the best. And honestly, the proof's in the pudding, and the pudding is about to be served up here real soon. We're less than a year away from Avengers 5 Doomsday. You guys let me know all your thoughts though down in the comments in a reaction to any and all of this. And would you say that your personal fandom has gone down, up, or is about the same as far as optimism? Because let's face it, if you watch my channel and channels like mine, we are the diehards, right? Like, we are the ones that they're talking about, and I'm totally okay with that designation. Let me know all your thoughts down below. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. All right, guys, we are still giving away PlayStation 5s and tickets here at the channel. In fact, we're going to do another round of Thunderbolts tickets, and it's super simple to be entered to win. The same rules apply for all the giveaways and future giveaways at the channel. Just be a subscriber, then leave a comment down below, and because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos the same way we're doing here, so please be safe and vigilant. Really, anywhere on YouTube they're doing giveaways. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on, and as always, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at @I'mFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes under the name All Fires. And while I would sincerely appreciate you checking my music out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.